when we can own our stories powerfully like that, then that puts us in that position to be able to share them powerfully because people in this world need our stories. Welcome to Breakthrough Mode, the podcast where we intentionally get into the driver's seat of our lives, shift out of monotony and mediocrity, and step on the gas towards becoming the person we were always meant to become. Hello and welcome to Wednesday in the Wild on the Breakthrough Mode podcast. I am your host, Megan Bauer. Thank you so much for joining me today and pushing play on today's episode. Today, I would love for you to get introspective with me as I tell you this recent experience I had. And by recent, I mean like last week. I think it was maybe I could even narrow it down to Thursday. I had this incredible moment where it felt a little bit like a breakthrough. Now, just as a little bit of a preface, I guess, I love that quote that I don't know who said it or if it's an unknown quote or whatever, but it's the thing that floats around on the internet that says something like, we all have chapters of our lives that we don't read out loud. Now, these are chapters that can be super painful. They can be chapters that we're not proud of. They can be chapters that we just don't really like to talk about. They're just hard times in our lives or hard parts of our story that we don't like to share. These parts of our story, parts of our journey, parts that have made us who we are that we don't like to share. We don't like to talk about. Jake has a story that he shares openly that I'm just like, please stop telling people that. Please stop sharing this story. And I actually don't really tell him to stop. I just tell him that it makes me cringe each time he shares it because it's an important part of his story that he has very powerfully owned. He uses this story to help other people. He uses this story to provide hope, to provide an example, and even to provide some compassion and like, I know. I know what you're going through. I know this is hard, and here's my experience. And when we can own our stories powerfully like that, then that puts us in that position to be able to share them powerfully because people in this world need our stories. And I wasn't even planning on going here, but it's coming up to me. Just had a recent conversation with my grandmother who is writing down her life story. And in her life story, she has lots of chapters she'd rather not read out loud. However, she keeps getting the impression over and over again that her family, her posterity, the generations that are going to come even after me and after my girls are going to need these stories, and they will be so grateful that she chose to write them down for us. She in a way is owning those stories so that they can be helpful, uplifting, encouraging, even just like a gentle undercurrent of like, you're not alone in what you're going through can be so powerful to others. And I think that's a little bit of what I wanted Wednesday in the Wild to be, right? Of course, I wanted this segment of the podcast to be, this is how we work through things. This is how we do it in real time, in real life. And like, we're all in it together. We're all going through it. One of the most important things for me in this podcast is that feeling of I'm not like up here preaching how to live a good life. I'm in the middle being like, this is what I've learned and I'm trying to do this too. And the more we try, the better we get. But that's how practice works, right? That's exactly how practice works. Okay, so back to last week. I've been working generally on like helping women with habits and goals and step doing things intentionally to step into the person that they want to become, right? And I was like, I really want to narrow down this focus. I have, for the most part, identified as an artist and a creative since I graduated college. That was pretty much my turning point. And I was like, no, I'm an artist. I am a creative person. I am a maker. Like, this is who I am. And that is the road I walked for a very long time. I was a gallery artist in the very beginning, and I've co-owned a quilting cotton shop, and I was very involved in the quilting industry. And I've worked as a graphic designer. I I learned a lot about surface pattern design, even though I never really did anything professionally with that. I I walked that path without getting to a professional level. But I'm still friends with incredible surface pattern designers, and we chat and talk all the time. And anyways, art and design and making have been my world. And so when I felt this call and this shift to focus on personal development and helping people with what I have learned, I kind of felt shame around all the time I spent striving as an artist and as a maker. And it felt like, if I was just going to go into personal development all this time, why did I have to struggle through through all of the struggles that being striving to be a professional creative brings, right? Like, there's the struggle around creating the artwork and then marketing the artwork and all of the back end business stuff and all of this like judgment about, is my artwork good enough? Are people going to like it? Are people going to value it? Are people going to buy it? Whatever. All of that, right? Like, why did I go through all of that struggle if my path was always going to lead me to personal development, if this was really going to be my passion, if this was the thing that I could 110% commit to growing and building and creating and shining my light in this way and building people in this way and encouraging people in this way, why did I spend all of that time as an artist and a creative? And I kind of resented it. There was a part of me that kind of resented it. There's a part of me that was like, "Oh, it's cool. I know how to use Adobe Illustrator. I can make quilts. Like, that's cool." But as far as seeing it as valuable, I didn't. And then as I was trying to narrow down, because like seriously, I've been a part of that world for so long, and I love these people. So many of my friends are artists and makers, and I love these people. I love these people. These are like my people. And I was like, you know what? What if I owned this part of me that I'm kind of ashamed about, this part of my journey that I kind of feel like was waffly and inconsistent and all over the place, and this part of me that I just have not loved? What if I own this part of me and I use that as a reason why I'm actually in the perfect position to coach and guide these specific women, these women who have very unique struggles in dealing with the art world and the business side of things, the mindset shifts that have to happen, the habits that need to be developed, this wearing of two very different hats. What if I can use everything that I have learned about habits and goal setting and achievement and personal development to help these very specific women? And then all of the sudden, in that moment, I truly felt it in that moment as I owned that part of me. I was like, this is what makes me valuable to these women. I'm not just some like random habit personal development coach, whatever, who has no idea what they're going through. I am actually the person. I mean, I'm sure there's more than me, but I'm the person who has walked the same path, who has had the same struggles, who has felt the very same things, who focuses on creating because the business side seems too hard and too like complicated and confusing and heavy. And so we just make something. And then when we make it, it feels like, okay, now I made this and I talk about it once or I share it once, but then now I've got to make something else. There's always that pressure for new, 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 more, without really giving any one single thing a chance. And like, I'm so intimately acquainted with these struggles of these women. So this is less, this isn't really like a marketing episode. The point here is that this part of my journey where I really struggled because although I had the passion, I never really had the talent, not like my friends do for sure. And other people in my life, I had the passion, I had my own quirkiness, and there were things that I did that I really, really loved. But I never felt like, yes, this is what I meant to do in the world. This is how I meant to shine my light. This is how I meant to show up. This is my calling. It was like, I really love this and I've got nothing else. So let's do it. And then when I stepped into this role as a personal development voice and as a coach, it's more of like, this is what I meant to do in this world. And so it felt a little bit like, well, what the crap was I doing all of those years? When I didn't know better, when I didn't know that this was my actual calling. And so now, in looking at that and in owning that piece of me that I haven't really liked to talk about, it became the actual reason I am in the perfect position, have the perfect experience to help these specific women. And that is powerful. That is really powerful. So I want you to consider, think about some of the chapters in your story that you don't like to read out loud. Think about the experiences that you have that you don't really like to share. And maybe pick one and think about how you can own it. And not just own it, but own it so that you can use that to help someone else. There's somebody out there who could benefit from you sharing your story, this chapter that you don't like to read out loud, this experience that you don't like to share. There's someone out there who could truly be uplifted and encouraged and benefit greatly by your courage to own that piece of you and then use it to help them. And that doesn't mean get on the internet and share widely necessarily. It means that when you have that opportunity, that you open your mouth to that one person on the phone or w- at an event or wherever you are, wherever that person comes to you, that you open your mouth and you share whatever that is with the intention of lifting them and building them. The other powerful thing too is as you own this piece of you, as you let it be part of your valuable experience, the feelings around it change. Because, I mean, I can be a little miffed that I spent all of that time doing all of that work when I was always meant to just get here. And I can also choose to see how that uniquely qualified me and uniquely equipped me for the work that I get to do now. And I can choose gratitude for that. Like, I could not, there's no other way to get experience than to live it. There's just not. There's not. And I have that experience. I know exactly what these women are going through. Your experience is for you and it's for other people as well. But in order to feel good about sharing it, you have to be able to own it first and you have to know, like, really know in your body, in your heart, in your soul that that experience, the one that you don't like, was good for you in some way and it's good for someone else too. But you have to be open to seeing the good in it. You have to be open to owning that part of you in order for you to feel that. So, step one would be to own it, right? Like, allow yourself to acknowledge the value it has brought to you, however that is. And I know that there are some real crappy experiences out there that you're just like, I don't know what you're talking about. But I can also think of people who have gone through some really crappy things who can now look back on those crappy things and be like, yeah, that happened. And it helps me become this kind of person. It helped me develop these skills. It helped me develop these qualities. This is this is the good that came from that crappy situation. And so it's in training yourself or challenging yourself to look for that, what came from it that was good. Not saying that the experience itself was necessarily good. And then allowing yourself to use that experience to build, lift, inspire, encourage someone else on their path and in their journey because they might just need your help to get through it. You might be that voice for them. So, that's what I have for you today on our Wednesday in the wild. Thank you so much for joining me. I totally love you. Bye for now.